We've done a really good job at sticking day to day and having that process throughout the year, so it hasn't really even felt or kicked in like we're going to make the playoffs until, when the season ended in Winnipeg, and now it's, our excitement level couldn't be higher, and um, I'm sure everyone's going to be really excited to play tomorrow.
How much was JT a catalyst for what you wanted to do in August? Get guys together, get him here early?
Yeah, a massive catalyst. I mean, he's a big part of the leadership here, big part of the team, big personality, and, obviously drove our team, for 81 games that he played. And, so a massive catalyst, and he's been a massive catalyst since he's been here for the 5 years he's been here.
Yeah, you've been here long enough to see everything you went through. I mean, whether it's trade rumors, the indifference, the change here, and he just keeps ramping his game up.
Yeah, I mean, he's a competitive guy. He expects a lot from himself, expects a lot from other people, and he's continued to, drive this group, drive his own game, and I think he's, extremely excited and probably, took the losing personal, and he, deserves the next week and a half or whatever we're going to play Nashville.
You talk about the excitement of playoffs. How do you balance that with the fact that it's another hockey game once the puck drops tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean, that's all it is, and we just got to stick to what, made us successful over the course of 82 games, and then, bring in a little bit more than that, and that's what we'll do.
Quinn, I know that the season's behind you now, but what do you need that we needed all NHL defensemen in scoring this year?
Yeah, obviously it means a lot. I think my main goal coming in was I knew I was going to be the captain, and I didn't want to be, captain and have a, crappy year. And so I kind of took it personal, and I wanted us to be successful. And I'd say that was my main goal, was trying to, be in a playoff position. But after that, I wanted to drive my own game and, be up there with some of the top guys, and I felt like I've done that.
Yossi's one of those top guys as well. Are you kind of looking forward to that head-to-head game within the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's not about us too, but he's drove his team the last couple of years, and obviously a massive part of what they're doing over there, and hopefully I can do the same.
He's a few years older than you are. Did you watch him at all coming into the league?
I'd say I watch more like Keith and those guys, but Yossi's unbelievable, and he's done it for so long, and he's just kind of a horse, and like I say, he drives his team. He's always up in the play. He's got a great shot. He's competitive, and I think he's been a great ambassador for, hockey in Nashville, and probably, hockey in Switzerland as well. So, I don't know, he's 33, 34, playing at maybe the highest level he's played at, and we're going to have to be on him.
You said a year ago, Quinn, that you thought you were as good as any defenseman in the league, but you had not been in the playoffs. Would the points, personal points, not mean as much if you weren't standing here today and in the postseason?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm most proud that, I got all those points, but I was really solid defensively, and it wasn't a give and take. It was, I was producing for the team, hopefully to equal wins, and I think that's, what matters.
Quinn, you know what you mean to this team, and I'm sure the Predators know what you mean to this team as well. They wouldn't be doing their job if they're not trying to neutralize you and limit you. And I mean, are you prepared for sort of additional attention?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've had, attention like that for a little bit, but probably spike a little bit more in the playoffs. But I feel like my game's in a really good spot, and I've been building the last 2-3 years and 2-3 summers, and my mentality's in a really good spot, I would say.
Do you expect to see some of that Forsberg line with O'Reilly and Nyquist? What are the challenges?
Yeah, I mean, the good thing for us is we got 6 really good Ds, so it doesn't have to be me and Phil. It can be me or Mizey and Kohler, or Z and Jules, or whoever's playing, and Susie, and so it's going to be a 6-man tandem, but I feel confident me and Phil can get the job done as well.
What about them specifically and the challenges they provide?
Haven't seen them in a while, but obviously Forsberg, finished with 48 goals, and not a lot of players in the league like him, and Riley's, O'Reilly's got a Conn Smythe, and Nyquist also a veteran player, so they got a good line. They got a good team though, and all 4 lines will present their own challenges.
You have leveled up sort of throughout your career, and obviously took it to another level this year. Do you feel you have anything to prove in playoff hockey?
I just feel that I had a great season, and just got to keep going, and I'm really happy that I can put the 82 games behind us now and can just focus on the playoffs and winning games, and that's what we'll do.
Yeah, I try to I want to enjoy the day-to-day. I don't want to think too much about tomorrow. I was talking to some players about that. Enjoy that. Sometimes you want to hurry up the process. Let's get this game tomorrow, and I think I'm not saying it's a mistake. I like guys to enjoy the day. Whatever you're going to do today, have fun with it. I think some guys will probably take a nap, so enjoy your nap. But no, I just think you don't want to rush things. That's kind of the same thing for me. I mean, I'll do a few things today, but we've done a lot of work the last couple of days, and I told the coaches that, after the last meeting to shut their brain off for the day. Like, don't think hockey until tomorrow morning.
Rick, when you got here, you looked at JT and you said, I see a lot of myself in him. Here we are, 102-point season later. It's come to fruition what kind of player he is. How impressed are you with his all-in, buy-in right from August on?
Yeah, no, he's a guy that drives a lot of play for us. He's an emotional guy. And I thought he did a good job of keeping it in check sometimes. Now it's the playoffs, same thing. We got to make sure that not just Millsy, our team doesn't get frustrated, and those are the next steps for us. But he's been terrific all year for us, and even when he's got his B or C game, he somehow contributes, and that's when you have a good player.
Do you lean on a leadership group with a guy who's been to Game 7 finals, twice in the conference finals out east? Do you lean on him, his experience?
Yeah, I think the temper and the Millsy around the players is, you got to make sure, because a lot of guys haven't played. There's some guys you can tell maybe a little antsy, so you got to make sure they have a good demeanor around the room.
For all the guys who haven't played and are going to discover what playoff hockey is like tomorrow, what should their attitude be? How should they embrace it and somehow approach it without being intimidated by it?
Well, I think the approach for me, I shouldn't say don't worry about scoring goals or making play. You want to make plays, but any little play matters. Whether it's a good change, a good block, or something. So you got to stay focused that way. Something might not happen the first 2 periods for you. It might be neutral. It's okay. I've just from being on the bench as an assistant coach with Pittsburgh, there's been some games where Sidney Crosby, the ultimate guy, right? Where the game was playing, nothing was spectacular, but he just let the play happen, and then eventually something happened and he made a great play. It's the same thing with players. Sometimes players, if nothing happens, they press the envelope. That's when you make mistakes. If you look at past history of the really good teams that go far, they can be down 2-0, and they're still playing the same way after the first period. So I think that's what I guess my message to especially guys I haven't played before, just stay with it. It's okay. You don't have to press all the time. You want to pressure, don't get me wrong, and play hard, but to me, just stay within yourself.
Do you dial up your coaching, the information that you provide, the level that you want a hard match, like all of those things a little bit more in the playoffs?
There's probably a little bit more. There's a couple things we'll probably match a little bit. You'd be crazy not to. They got some talented players over there. So we'll look into that, but I don't want to make it too much because then you take flow out of certain guys. But you'll look for some mismatches for sure. It's just like they will.
You spoke to Petey a little bit extra at the end of practice, and was there a specific message there, or what were you trying to get across?
No, he was asking me. I forget what he was asking about a play, and then I just asked him what he was doing for dinner, and we were just talking about today's whatever. I said no. I told him no video games tonight. So he said I think he shut it down for a while. Good, no video games.
Sam Lafferty the other day is a guy you think that's going to thrive in the playoffs. Is that part of the thinking and putting in with Petey?
Well, I just think that there's probably 2 or 3 guys that might get bounced around in that wherever there might be a couple of lines. There's some set lines, but I think Sam, last few games, heavy forechecking guy. I think he can jump on some loose pucks, and we'll see how it goes if he's there tomorrow night. But I got a feeling him up there.
Rick, this is a matchup that's going to see 2 of the NHL's top defensemen go up against each other. Can you compare how Hughes and Yossi play?
Well, they're the same thing. They drive play. They both have the puck on their stick a lot. They both can defend because of that, and they're a fourth forward out there. So both break out the puck very well, walk the blue line really well. Both can shoot the puck. I mean, it's you got arguably the 2 best. There's 2 other guys. McCarty, you can throw those in there, but in one series you got the 2 best defensemen in the league right now, and I'm sure they're game planning Hughes, and we're game planning Yossi. A big game plan against those guys. They're that good.
You had DiGiuseppe in, and it looked like Pods was an extra. If you go that way, how much of that is just opening night, the first night, sort of leaning on a veteran as opposed to a young guy that hasn't experienced all this?
Well, yeah, just you do a round table. You get your coach's thoughts. Who checks what box, things like that. And sometimes in the first games, sometimes you might go with experience early on, but that's not saying he won't play tomorrow. Things like that, gut feeling. I thought if Deej does, but I thought he played good against Nashville his first 3 games at the beginning of the year. So Little, I think, scored a goal. I mean, you're looking for anything like that, but experience does help.
We see generally the first 5 minutes of every playoff opener is just chaos,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
for some of the guys who maybe that's not in their wheelhouse or their comfort zone, do you have to talk to some of your players to be prepared to take punishment, but also dish it if they can?
Well, I think we had to talk about it today. You got to embrace the pain. It's going to be pain, and you got to love it. I'm being serious. You got to crave that walk to the bus when you're tired and you're limping or you got to cut. That should be something you crave. Don't be afraid of it. I think that these guys they've watched playoff hockey. Now and they've seen this year where there's been some games. There's been some heavy pressured games and buildings we've got into. So they've got a little taste. Obviously, it's ramped up. It's a different level, but you just got to make sure that can't shy away from. And you just said it. You got to play uncomfortable.
Is
You
that
have to.
amplified with a series where 2 of the most physical teams in the league are going up against each other like this one?
Well, I think. Listen, some guys don't always hit, which is fine, right? There's different ways to defend, but there's times when you can't turn out a check or you can't turn down going to the net or things like that. You just do that a lot more in the playoffs.
In the playoffs, special teams such an important
Yeah.
factor. How do you tell your guys to control their emotions
Yeah.
so that they're not taking those extra penalties out of scrums?
Well, I think the first round the refs do call a little. They probably call the same as regular season. They want to set the tone. So, it's the same thing we've preached all year. Is the stick penalties. You got to keep your stick down. You got to stay within your details. Aggressive, tough hockey doesn't mean you have your stick in the air or you're elbowing somebody in the head. It's legally checking the guy hard, confrontation in front. And hopefully both teams don't snap their heads back.
Two more
Charles,
guys,
why
then Talk has to go to a meeting, please. Thanks. 2 more.
Why do you think Connor Garland, for a guy his size, seems to thrive so much
Yeah.
in conflict?
Chip on his shoulder, all of his life, he's, you're a small little kid, you can't play with the big boys type of thing. I think, we laugh about it, but he's had to change his game from junior. We've had talks about this. He was a heavy point guy, and he knew he was not going to come up here and score 100 points like in junior. I'm not saying maybe one day he can, but he's got a little bit of a chip. Like he likes going in the corners, and he likes the confrontation. That's his game. That's when you know it is his game. But there's some times where I talk to him, he holds on it a little bit too much, and he might get doubled up and get hit hard. So he's just got to make sure he knows when to get rid of the puck. But he loves a confrontation, and that's why he drives lines.
Last one, please. Rick, this team is one that you faced early in the season,
Yeah.
but the way that they've
Yeah.
started playing is almost completely different. Does the fact that you've had success against them, but also so much has changed for them in any way complicate your pre-scout or your preparation for this series?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm not, we're not sitting here. We beat them 3 times, and we're not sitting here on our laurels. They were one of the hottest teams. They won 18 straight games. Bruno just got the job. Took them a while to understand his system. They're one of the better offensive teams. I think the second half, one of the better rush teams. So they're getting his system. So saying that, is it harder to game plan? No. We know, there's some certain things we got to do. Yossi, we got to take care of Forsberg. They're a good rush team, so we've worked on our rush coverages, the weak side, little things like that. But it's a little different. It's a different team, sure. And then you obviously got the great goaltender. So yeah, it's an evenly matched series.